Okay. All right. So giving it a second because the platforms kind of roll and start and we should be good to go. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday, Friday, as some would say. Whoop, whoop, whoop. It's happy hour here in New York and probably everywhere in the world these days. And thank you so much for joining my live stream. I have started a new segment that I'm calling the Cocktology Report. And it is a pun on words, and it's when I get together with someone over cocktails and chat about love, relationships, sex, everything in between. And I'm so excited. Today I am speaking with Suzanne Oshima, who is the founder and creatrix of Your Next Amazing Story. She is a life and love transformational coach. Welcome, Suzanne.
Aw, thanks so much, Yolanda, for having me. I'm so excited to do this.
Yes. And just so you all know, we go back a ways. We go back years. She invited me to speak at some of her events in New York, which I spoke about love. And so we've reconnected, which is so exciting. And so let's get into, okay. First we have to start with what are we drinking? I have a Negroni. What do you have?
I have a glass of wine. It's a rosé. And I'm super excited. I waited. I haven't taken one sip because I wanted to say cheers to you.
Cheers. 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 Woohoo.
Because I miss you and I miss New York.
Oh, we miss you too. But here we are. So my Negroni, I just want to say, of course, everybody knows you make it with Campari. I'm almost out of Campari. More will be coming tomorrow. But I have a fabulous Italian gin. Melfly. I never know how to get this thing on the camera. It's so wonderful. It feels like I'm in Italy, yet trapped in my home in New York. So nobody wants to hear me talk about that. People want to know more about love. So first of all, what is a transformational coach? I think people get the life part, life coach, but what's a transformational coach?
Well, you know, what I have found, and I'm sure, Yolanda, you've seen this too with some of your clients, is sometimes we can hold on to our old patterns, blocks, and triggers, and it can hold us back from finding love again. And what I have found when we keep holding on to that and bringing that baggage to the next relationship, you know, the same thing keeps happening. And, you know, ladies, if that's happened to you, where you're like, God, why do my relationships or marriages keep ending the same way? It's because we keep bringing that. And so what I help my clients do is become self-aware of some of their patterns, blocks, and triggers. And so that we can start to shift, help them let go of those things so that they can move on into more of a healthy relationship.
And wouldn't that also include dating the same type of guy, like the same type of wrong person? Like, why am I attracted to the bad guy or whatever that is?
Well, that's a bad sign in the first place. If you're saying, why am I attracted to the bad guy? That should tell you why, right?
Right.
But yeah, I agree, is if someone keeps saying, you know, I'm attracted to the same type of men and the same thing keeps happening, you know, and then this is what some of my clients will say to me, but that's my type. And I'm like, well, how's that type working out for you?
Right. And then it's like, you really got to do a deep dive into self then to ask yourself those tough questions. Yes. Wow. And it's not easy. We're not saying it's easy all the time because, I mean, yeah, it's not easy. We have to do it ourselves. Me, you, Suzanne, everybody. So what kind of things do you do when you work with your clients? So I'm assuming you also work with clients around the world. So anybody could work with you, correct?
Yes. So I do all of my coaching online. So it's either on the phone or on Zoom. And so I work with clients all over the United States, all over the world. And one of my group programs, it's called the Circle of Love Sisterhood. It's my baby. I love this program because it's not just about finding love. It's really about, you know, helping women as we age into midlife, is helping us transform midlife into our best life and finding love again in our next chapter. But, you know, what I've also found is us women in midlife, we're going through some changes, right? that have nothing to do with love. Like your parents may be aging, you may be, taking care of them, putting them into assisted living, or they're going through their transition. And so what I have found is a lot of us are going through this alone. And I don't want any woman to ever go through life alone, because it's not just about finding love. It's about living their lives, our best lives.
So, and I'm glad you brought that up, because as you're saying that, in my mind, though, kind of like some of my clients who end up staying in a relationship longer than they probably should, they are scared to be alone. So then they stay with somebody too long, or they will pick the bad person. Do you have any advice on what do you do if you're scared to be by yourself?
Yeah, that's actually very common. And I will say I even went through that a couple of years ago. Is, should I stay in this relationship because I was afraid to be alone? And I got to tell you, I went through my own transformation, because I said, you know what? My happiness, my health and happiness and my well-being isn't worth that sacrifice of being with somebody that I could no longer be with, right? And I got to tell you, this is really funny. This pandemic is like a bunch of aha moments, because you start to go, oh, thank God I left him then, because, this pandemic would have ended our relationship anyway. So.
Right. She told me that the other day, and I was like, well, I'm glad you got out, or I'd see you on the news. Right.
And also, if you think about it, I mean, life's too short. Why would we want to spend time with someone we don't want to be with? Right.
Exactly.
And I think that a lot of people get afraid that, oh, it's too late for me. It's never too late. My best success story is a woman that was 74 in Canada who I helped find love again. So you can have to be open to it.
And I'm sure you heard about Helen Fisher too, who was 74. For you all who don't know her, she is with Match.com, and she does all the statistics, all the data for them. And she's never been married. She got married like this year. So, and she just turned 75. And they don't live in the same house. She still has kept her fabulous. I've heard her apartment is fabulous on the Upper East Side, and I believe he lives in the Bronx. She calls it her Bronx country home. So it's never too late. We're going to come back to that, because I have a specific question about that. But I also want to talk about, how did you get into doing what you do now? Because when I met you, you were a matchmaker. I just want to say that, because so she's very informed on love and relationships. So now she's doing this. I read a little bit of your story on your website, but I'd love for you to say a little bit more about how you are now coaching and transformational coaching.
Sure. So actually, even before you knew me as a matchmaker, I used to have an online dating site. That's how I got into the dating industry. And then I went into matchmaking and date coaching, working with both men and women. And while it was great, I thought I was like, what's her name? Patty Stanger, Millionaire Matchmaker. I was like, I could be like her. Yeah. But what I didn't realize is that it wasn't something I truly enjoyed. And of course, you don't really find that out until you start doing it, right? And so as I was doing it, I started to realize that, I was learning so much about men and how they think and what they want. And I was like, if I could share with women what I'm finding out about men, they would, become so empowered. They would become more successful at dating and relationships. And that's when I launched Single in Stilettos. And that's when I met you.
Yes. And
so I had you speak at that event. And then as I was going through, and Single in Stilettos, I love that name. I thought that was the most creative name. It was very Sex in the City. It was very fun, right?
It felt like it. It was a very Sex in the City type of event. It was great. Everything. Yeah.
And it was great. But then, we all go through changes. And as I got into my 50s, I was like, okay, Single in Stilettos doesn't really resonate with me anymore. And I don't think it's resonating with my audience anymore. And so I went through my own transformation, and I really wanted women to to feel like it's never too late. And so I'm like, how can I name my company? And so that's how I came up with Your Next Amazing Story. It's never too late. And I realized that that's truly my passion, is empowering, inspiring women in midlife to just go after whatever you want, because it's not just about finding love. I want to make that very clear.
That is very true. It's a combo of everything. Life, love. I call it life, love, the pursuit of happiness. It all goes together. Okay. Say somebody's single and ready to mingle, but we're in COVID. How the hell is a girl supposed to meet somebody with this mask on? You don't know what's behind their mask. That could be scary or not. What's a girl to do? Do we get on? How do we online date now? What's going on? Help us.
Well, it's a great question. And all of my clients ask me the same thing. But I will tell you, with or without COVID, it's always going to be something.
Yes.
There's always going to be a challenge that's going to come up. And so we get to decide. We get to decide if we're going to either embrace it and make the best of it.
Okay.
Or if we're going to go, okay, well, let me wait till COVID's over, which, when is that going to be? We don't know.
Right.
You put your entire life on hold if you truly want to find love. Mm-hmm. Right. So with COVID, this is what I will say. Online dating is actually skyrocketing right now because of COVID.
Well, that makes sense. But I guess it's also like I've been hit on so much more during COVID, which is cracking me up, because I know what I look like when I leave my apartment. I'm just trying. I don't match sometimes. I got all kind of stuff going on. They're like, you're so pretty. I'm like, how the fuck can you tell what's going on underneath all of this? But it's funny. So people still are walking around, I guess. I mean, I know there's online dating, but what if somebody's too scared to go out to meet somebody? What do you suggest? You just suggest maybe getting on the phone, video chatting? What's a good?
I actually suggest going through a process. So first is, the communication online, right? Emailing. And then it should be 2 to 3 email exchanges and then moving it to a phone call. Okay. Just a regular phone call. And the reason why I want you to move it to a regular phone call is because texting and emailing is okay, but you'll really get a sense once you have a phone call. It doesn't have to be long, maybe 15, 20 minutes, but you'll get a sense if you really want to take it one step further with this person.
Right. And you might can figure out if they're catfishing you. I got into catfish during all this too. Right.
Exactly. And then the next step, and this I do recommend because of COVID, is to first do a video call, like over Zoom. Personally, ladies, I recommend Zoom because everyone looks better on Zoom. FaceTime, not everybody looks great. Sometimes I get off FaceTime and I'm like, oh God, I thought I looked okay.
So, wait a minute though, hold on. But what if they get on FaceTime and then later they're like, well, Zoom, he looked great. And now look. So it's kind of like dim lighting. Romantic Zoom.
Well, that is true. It goes both ways, right?
Okay.
But, you want to look your best, and you want, and at least you'll get an idea, right? And then from the video call, that's where it's on an individual level, because it really depends on where you live, what the restrictions are. You have to take into account yourself and your inner circle of your family and who's at high risk, right? Can you do a socially distanced date?
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it. Very true.
Yeah. And this is super, super important. I know everybody has beliefs on the mask thing. I don't want to get into that, but this is what I will say. Is whatever your beliefs are, make sure you're both on the same page before you meet in person, because you don't meet in person and then find out, oh, we're not on the same page. And that can be a disaster.
Yeah, that could be nasty. I hadn't even, good one. Okay, so holidays are coming up and these numbers are looking a little shady. So some people are not going to be able to go home. So there's going to be more single women sitting at home and then going, oh my gosh, or for some of them, it's going to be the best thing ever. Just depends on, on what's going on. Do you have any tips for if somebody might feel lonely, or maybe some way to be proactive about dating? Maybe this is the best time to get online because you never know. Any comments, thoughts?
Yeah, this is the best time to date. And I will tell you, ladies, if you're not doing online dating right now, this is the time, because I'm looking at the date right now. It's November 13th. So you have about 6 weeks to get your profile together, because you want to hit the ground running January 1st, because that's the most highly trafficked day for online dating. So
January 1st is? Really?
January 1st and 2nd, because everyone makes their New Year's resolutions. This is a year. I'm going to change it. I'm going to find love. So the online dating sites, it's the most highly trafficked days of the year. And obviously it goes into January, but you might as well hit the ground running, right? 2021.
Very good. This is news to me. Okay. Okay. All right. Now back to that finding love later in life, because our vice president-elect, Kamala Harris, did not get married until she was almost 50. They said it was like a few weeks or so. And she got married for the first time ever at 50. And then I have a few friends who 40s, they're just now getting married. And this is becoming a bigger trend. Are you seeing that? And what do you have to say about that?
I have to say that it's never too late, which is exactly why I have that tagline, right? It isn't. It's never too late. It's only too late, quite honestly, if you think it's too late.
That is true.
What is your belief system? And I will tell you, my clients, the ones that come to me and they're so steadfast and they say to me, Suzanne, this is my year. I'm going to find love again. Those are the ones that always find it. Never fails. It's not how you look. You don't have to be skinny. You can be curvy. It doesn't matter. All women, it's about your belief system and what you believe inside. So it's never too late. And it is a trend, because we as women, we've been busy. We've been busy doing stuff, like Kamala Harris. She's been busy.
I mean, yeah, she's done a lot. That's true.
And so she, for her, it was later in life, and she was okay with that. For some women, later in life is not okay. They want to find the right man and get married in their 20s and have, kids and all of that. It's okay. There's no right or wrong. It's just, right. What do you want?
Right. I just think that it's been interesting, because society will try to act like there's a problem with a woman per se, if they wait later to get married. Like, I have men who will ask me, how many kids do you have? And I'm like, I have none. And I'm not having any. And that was part of my plan. So it's just very interesting to see people's response to that. Or, you haven't been married yet? How many divorces have you had? It's just, I think they put a lot more on us. Men can wait till they're 110 and get married. Like, look at George Clooney. Of course, people were on him about it, but it was okay for him to wait,
Yeah. And it's I find that people are very judgmental.
Yes.
And it's based on their own belief system and what they're comfortable with, right?
Right.
And so they can believe whatever they want, right? But whether we take on their baggage is up to us. So we have a choice, because this is what I know is, some women will say to me, they really hate the holidays because they'll go to Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever it is, or New Year's, and, Auntie whoever or Uncle
right.
will say, yep. Why are you single? You're so great. And then it makes you feel funny. And it's like, no, stand in your power, right? You know who you are. You know there's nothing wrong with you. And just remember, everyone just wants the best for you.
Right. Good. That's very true. Can we talk about fear a little bit? Because I think that there's a lot involved in that when it comes to love. I've been talking to a friend of mine who dated somebody years ago, and I told her I was going to send her this clip because I was going to tell off on her. And this person is back in her life, and he lives someplace else. But as she keeps revealing, he is saying all the right things, and I'm like, what's the problem? Well, I don't know. And I'm like, well, and I said to her, I'm like, well, what's really wrong? I'm like, don't tell me, you got to tell yourself. But can we talk about that? Because I do think that it's part of her admitting that it's okay for her to want him back in her life again. And I think that there's some of that around, that people being scared to admit either, I don't want to say need, because, we talk about people needing people, but there is a thing about wanting a partner, and that's okay. So can we talk about fear a little bit and what you've seen with some of your clients?
Yeah, fear is ugly.
Yeah.
Because and I'm not just talking about in love, I'm talking about in all aspects of our lives, is fear can be very paralyzing. Like it keeps us stuck. We could totally want something, whether it's love or a new job or start a business, whatever it is. But the fear of failure, fear of the unknown, it just keeps us stuck. And here's what I know is that what helps me with my fear is that instead of thinking about the end goal, because sometimes it can feel overwhelming, right? Like, oh my God, that's so much. I don't know if I could do it. Is just think of the first 3 steps
Mhm.
and then just take one step.
Mhm.
And each step that you take will build on that confidence. And then it won't seem as daunting and as scary. And you will get to that result. And this is what I will say. And if you stumble along the way, ask for help. I think that's one of the biggest problems that I've seen with strong, independent women is we don't ask for help,
Mhm.
right? And we're like, nope, got this. I've got this. I've got it. But I have to comment on your friend because you said something that stuck in my mind is you said that the guy, her ex was saying all the right things. And she's like,
Right.
so here's the thing is don't listen to a man's words,
Right.
watch his actions.
Right.
Because there's a reason why it ended before. And so while he's on his best behavior right now, is just because she should kind of just lean back and see how he shows up for her
Right.
in his actions and all that he's doing. And then, she has to decide if he's right for her because I'm sure
Right.
all her friends and family all have an opinion about him.
Mhm. Oh, absolutely. And I know that plays a factor in everything. It's like I feel like they're such the same person where they're both like, and I'm like, okay, either talk about it or not. But you need to, because I said to her too, from a psychic point of view, looking at the energy, I said, y'all need to either do this damn thing or you need to end it because nobody else is going to be able to come into your life because that energy is holding it up. Because I tell women all the time, and I'm sure you have to have these conversations, if you're with the wrong person or you're entangled because we got entanglement this year, thank you Jada Pinkett Smith, if you're entangled with the wrong person, the right person can't come along. So you either have to let something go or let something grow. So I'm sure you run into that all the time too.
Oh yeah. It's the fear of letting go because what if I can't find something else? And so you can't see it in this picture, but like picture someone holding you back and you're trying to find the right person. That's going to hold you back. And energetically, like you said, it does. It totally holds you back because I look at it as that's your safety net. Like, oh, I always have him just in case it doesn't work out with him. So are you fully giving that other man a chance, the new man, right?
Yeah, I call it dick on deck. You like to have dick on deck. I'm just saying. Dick on deck is one of the strongest things that keeps people spellbound. It's like it's there, dick's on deck, I can call it. I mean, we can all, ladies, it's easier for us to have dick on deck because we run this stuff, but that's a whole other conversation.
You're hilarious.
So what other programs? I know what's your program called again?
It's the Circle of Love Sisterhood. And it's about finding love in your next chapter, but it's also about living your best life because like I said, it's not just about finding love again. We're living our life. We're living our best life and it's never too late. Like, Yolanda knows I just moved from this year from New York to California at 55. It's like it's never too late to start over again.
Wow. Yeah, I know. We miss her though. I mean,
but that's why we're having cocktails together. I was like, oh, I could drink this early in California because it's like if I were getting together with Yolanda for drinks in New York.
Exactly. Ta-da! So can you let everybody know your website and how to find you? I will put it in the post, of course, but please let us know how to find you.
Sure. It's yournextamazingstory.com.
Look at that. Look at that. Any parting words like, okay, I need to live my best life. Forget love. I mean, well, not love for forget love, but what should I be getting prepared for besides, getting my profile together for January? What should I be doing for my full life? Like any tips for January or getting ready for this 2021? I do think the energy looks really great for next year, though. I've been saying, like, everybody get ready because I see the shift. I think some of us already see the shifts.
Yay!
But I think we're gonna definitely. I mean, I was gonna say it can't get worse, but I'm not gonna say that because I don't want to be the one to make that problem. But any suggestions or tips for getting ready for the new year?
Yeah. For everyone, if fear is holding you back, is just remember your journey is your journey. And so just take one step at a time, and the confidence will build each step that you take. And you're just going to just keep going. And it's so important to not go through this alone, especially now. Get the support, get friends, family on board, whatever you need, get them on board so that you feel fully supported.
So speaking of that, did you have a nice little net of friends in your area where you live now, or you're just now creating that for yourself? I know you probably have people around the world, but because I know people who want to move now too. Let me just ask you this one last question.
Sure.
Because, you got people flocking away from New York or going to new places. Like, how did you start to create your community where you are now?
So I'm not that new to this area. I don't know if you know this. I went to college in Long Beach, which is right north of here. So that's how I knew I wanted to live in Newport Beach.
Mm-hmm.
So my old college roommate lives there. And then one of my old neighbors from New York lives right down in Laguna Niguel. And yeah, and I've never been afraid of that. I mean, when I moved to New York 22 years ago, I knew one person, and she lived in New Jersey. And I always was like, and I'll meet people.
Right. I mean, right now it's just a little harder. That's why I was like, how did you? Because I know you did it during COVID, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay. Thank you, darling.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for those who have tuned in. Don't forget to check out her website. And I wish everybody amazing love. I always do. And I hope it's working out for everyone. Thank you so much. We're going to roll out slowly because all the platforms have to catch up. And have a great weekend. And until next time, peace, love, cheers, and much love. I love it. And much love to all of you. Oh, thank you.